All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Grant. It is great to have you here.
Very good. Thanks. Thanks for having us.
You bet. So you're production manager at Square One World Media. What does a typical day look like for you?
Well, a typical day, I don't know if it actually exists. It involves a lot of whiplash because we've got a lot of different projects, different languages, different cultures, different audience groups. And so one time I'm talking with the Spanish team upstairs, trying to figure out a TV program. The next thing I'm downstairs working with the Russian team, and we're working on a kids puppet show. So, and then maybe we're getting ready for a live broadcast into Afghanistan for the next day. So a typical day is typically non-typical.
How many languages does Square One World Media broadcast?
I think at this point it's 6 or 7. It fluctuates as projects come and go, and but it's typically been around that number over the years.
Okay, I would love to know, and there's no judgment here. Do you speak any other language than English that you work with?
Well, I no, I never claimed to. However, I've got a little bit of German, a little bit of Spanish, but not enough to put on my business card.
Right on. So, I would love to hear more from your perspective about this brand new documentary, really showcasing those 75 years coming up.
Yeah, the documentary has been a really good project to be a part of. Especially when you are focused on what's happening right now and you think this is what it is. But then when you look back and you realize how it got here, and you realize that you're walking in the projects you're working on now are as a result of all these other different people and teams and projects that have happened before. And so it really has been good to look back on the big picture of things and see what is the purpose that we had back then, and what is the purpose that we have right now, and is it the same? Are we on track? And fortunately, I can give you a bit of a spoiler here. The answer is yes.
I would love to hear. I asked this question of one of your colleagues, and I think it's a good uh, view into Square One World Media. Why did you choose to come work there?
Well, my background is actually in the technical side of broadcasting. I had actually worked in radio and the technical side in different places, including Golden West, going way back, but also at a little missionary radio station in the Caribbean and in South America as well. And when I was working in those on the technical side of things, I I could also see the content side right in front of me, and I wanted to be more involved in the content, but I didn't want to leave behind the technical experience and background that I had. And when I came across Square One, I saw the opportunity to combine the technical and the creative together. And that's exactly the role that I have here right now. So it gets both sides of the brain going really nicely and for very good purpose.
That's fantastic. With the information that you guys share in such sometimes really tough spots in the world that aren't necessarily open to this, why do you think the work that you guys do is important?
Well, I mean, what we're trying to do is share the love of God, the message of Jesus, and there's only 8 billion people in the world here, and it's very difficult to talk to everyone face to face. And media is just this fantastic opportunity to multiply the communication possibilities and go to places where we just physically could not go. And the other thing about media that's very powerful is when you're making a radio program, for example, the opportunity to speak in a way directly to another individual does come across in the way you produce the program. And the audience person at the other end can sense that, hey, this person is talking to me. And even though thousands of people are probably experiencing the same thing simultaneously, there is that one-on-one connection that can happen through media. There's that I think is a an opportunity that God has given us to use technology, and we can use that for His kingdom.
Amen to that. So what we try and do here as well at Golden
Mhm.
West, well, CHBN specifically for sure. I would love to hear, is there even one story over the last 75 years that comes to mind that really inspired you, encouraged you in doing this work and continuing this work?
Well, yeah, there's probably a lot of stories, but I can give you an example. Even in this control room where I'm sitting right now, when we do the Afghan live television program, we're sitting here in Winnipeg, and that is about 9 or 10 hour time zone difference away from us here. And you can feel quite removed from your audience, but it's a live show. And the reason it's live is because we want callers to be able to call in and interact with the host on the program. So this one time we were doing the show, and I'm just doing my technical things, calling cameras and pressing buttons and doing all that. And there's a guy sitting in behind me who speaks Dari, the Afghan language, and he is screening the calls. And there was this one call he took, and yeah, we put it on the air. And while the conversation was going on air, that the guy who was screening the call was sitting behind me, and he said, "I know where this guy is calling from. It's a little village way up in the mountains there." And so the guy who was doing the call screening right behind me used to live in a city nearby in Afghanistan, and knows exactly this village that guy is calling from, and said, "This guy is telling all of Afghanistan that they should look into Jesus and see what he's all about because he changed that person's life." And when Farhad, who was the call screener in behind me, said, "There's a guy from that village saying that is the most extreme backcountry, poverty stricken, and very narrow focus with the religious mindset there, that if somebody in that village has heard about Jesus, then everybody in Afghanistan has had the opportunity to hear about Jesus." He said that was the last corner in the world he thought someone would have heard, and that person was calling in live on the program. So that really gave me a conclusion that, okay, this media thing is really working. Sometimes you're sitting here just pushing buttons, you wonder, is anybody out there? Is the signal getting received? And even if it's getting received, is it making a difference? And in a lot of cases, we don't know, but there are those indications that really make you think, okay, there's more to it than we know.
That's so beautiful and an incredible story. Like I often say, there's these puzzle pieces that get fit together, and God is like master puzzle piece maker. And sometimes we're blessed enough to see one of the pieces and how they fit together. And that's one of those pieces. And I love those moments. I kind of feel like they're holy moments where it's like, wow, okay, like you said, what we do is making a difference somewhere. So fantastic.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for giving us this insight, Grant. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
I think that's probably all I had on my mind at this moment. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I really appreciate your time and God bless you and everything that Square One World Media is doing to spread the gospel.
Very good. Yeah. Seems like we're on the same team.
Absolutely. I love
Right,
it.
right on.